Hello, this is Tim Law with Playing It Forward Coaching and Self-Reliance You. Always remember that everybody here listening to this and beyond, you are essential as far as your goals, your dreams, your career. And please don't let anybody tell you differently. First of all, a big thank you to everybody, the over 300 people that have subscribed to this channel, Playing It Forward Coaching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And I'm delighted to have a lady here that has a phenomenal story regarding her battles with cancer. Kim Mattice, married to one of my former wrestlers. So Kim, take it away and thank you.
Hi, thanks, Tim. I appreciate you having me on here. It's an honor and how to explain my story and how cancer has touched my life and everyone around me. It actually started with my dad. My dad had cancer. I was at my 30th birthday, he was diagnosed. And so I've been through that on that side of the cancer, helping care for somebody. Never knew how it affects the whole family until you go through that with him. I thought I was invincible. You know, you don't ever think you're going to have the C word come into your life. What we did for my dad, we did climb Mount Kilimanjaro, and that was a cancer climb. We did that back in February of 2008. So that was kind of my first cancer journey. And then Tom and I had purchased a company back in 2017. 6 months later, after the company, we bought the company. I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I had what's called triple negative breast cancer. And so my story started then. So, you know, I can't stress enough to tell women how important it is to have just a mammogram. Just go and have it done. Especially, you know, I was one of those people, I'm invincible. I'm not going to get it. Nobody in my family has it. And that's the wrong attitude to have. And I ended up, getting the phone call, and I went in for a routine mammogram. So I can't stress enough. And going through my journey, that was one thing that I did stress. I wasn't going to post anything on Facebook because I didn't really want people to know. But then I thought, well, how can I turn this into something positive? And how can I reach a lot of lives? Because I can't be the only woman going through this. And I know I'm not. And so my goal to make me feel good was to touch other women's lives and really reach out and say, listen, we're in this together, and we got to watch out for each other, and you've got to get your mammograms. We have to take care of each other. You have to take care of yourself. We're moms. If we're down and out, what happens to the family? We're kind of the ones that take care of everything.
You're the cornerstone for sure.
Yeah, we are. So, and I know you talk about a lot of sports, how that's influenced your life. I was a big athlete in school. I played volleyball. I did a little bit of soccer, played basketball when I was young. I was really tall in 5th grade. I was a whopping 5'3" and never grew a grin. So my basketball career was over after 6th grade. But I did play volleyball, and I played a lot of other sports, and I played a lot of softball, and I loved it. And, I think being determined, I think having that drive of always wanting to win. I'm very, very competitive. I really wish I wasn't sometimes, but I really am.
Good matchup for your husband, Tom. Very competitive guy too. Yeah.
Luckily, he lets me win. But that competitive does help you get through it, and makes you want to strive to be better and get through it.
Sure. No, makes a lot of sense, Kim. Now, my understanding is you went through 2 different bouts of cancer.
Yeah. So the first time, once I was diagnosed, I went through chemo first. I had 4 different medications that they did intravenously. I lost my hair at day 17, just like the nurse said I would. Because us Mattices always like to have fun and share our stories, we did have a head shaving party. So we had about, oh gosh, 28 people show up, and about 18 people shave their heads.
Wow,
And
wow.
my sister was one of them, and we had a bunch of friends do it for me. So it was very supportive.
Mhm.
Um, After I was done with my chemo, I had to wait about 8 weeks for my blood levels to come back up. And then I had to have a double mastectomy. My lymph nodes were not involved at the time. So we had only taken 3 out previously just to check, because that's the first thing they do is to check your lymph nodes.
Okay. What year was this, Kim?
This was I was diagnosed July 25th of 2018.
Okay.
Had my mastectomy February 14th, uh, 2019.
Mhm.
Valentine's Day. That was my
Yeah.
Valentine's Day gift.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, had reconstructive surgery. Was cancer free about 9 months, and lo and behold, I was in the shower and I was like, "Gosh, something in my armpit is bothering me." And women got to get to know their bodies. You got
Mhm.
to know if something's really annoying you, if you feel a lump, you feel anything strange. I almost felt like it was like a little pimple or something, but just didn't feel right.
Mhm.
So I was digging around in my armpit and I found a lump. I called my doctor frantically and he got me right in. And
Mhm.
that was right around New Year's. And they had to go in and they took out all of my lymph nodes.
Mhm.
And I was re-diagnosed with cancer again. So I do have aggressive cancer. It's called triple negative breast cancer. It's a
Mhm.
little more rare. It's not hormonal. Usually 80% of breast cancer is hormonal. Mine is not. Mine's more environmental, and mine has a little bit to do with genetics.
Mhm. Mhm. I
So
see. And so, what were some of the things that that you kind of got put through, and things that you had to basically really kind of push yourself and stay strong and everything?
um,
What were some of those challenges, Kim?
I think the biggest thing you deal with, and it's the hardest for a lot of people, and I think it's the hardest thing you can talk about, is probably depression.
Hmm.
I'm not a depressed person. I'm very bubbly, outgoing. I love to be around people. Um, but the drugs they put you on, it just spirals you into this horrible dark hole, like nothing I've ever felt.
Hmm.
Um, I think that would be the hardest. The physical effects, they were tough. I mean, like I said, I lost all my hair, I lost my eyebrows, my eyelashes, I lost everything.
Hmm.
I got sick to the point where I had to have 6 blood transfusions.
Hmm.
Um, the vomiting, I laid in bed a couple times just because of the pain of the injections they would give you after the chemo,
Hmm.
because they ruin my blood count so bad that they give you uh, I forgot what the name of the shot is they give you.
Hmm.
um, so that would make me ache for about 3 days, and I would lay there and I would sit there and cry sometimes and look at Tom and say, is this worth it? What am I doing? Why am I doing this? And it was really hard. I think depression, I'm going to say, is probably the hardest thing and I've talked to a lot of women, and
Hmm.
same thing. The depression is really, really hard. You can get past a lot of the physical things, but the pain, it's temporary, it's going to go away. But
Right.
that depression stuck around for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. And how did you ultimately overcome the depression?
I had an amazing support group.
Mhm.
My girlfriends and my husband, my sister, everybody was there for me.
Yeah.
Tom probably saw the worst of it because, he's with me all the time. And,
Hmm.
he would work during the day and he'd come home at night and take care of me. And I think the nighttime was probably the hardest because that's when you're kind of the achiest. The sun goes down, you start to settle in. And he was my rock. And I just thought to myself, you know, I want to live. I want to get
Sure.
through this. And I thought, you know, I love my husband. I love my children. I love my family, my friends. And I fought it. I mean, they can give you stuff for it. I'm just not a medicine kind of girl. I
Hmm.
don't like to take
Hmm.
medicine.
Sure.
So just the perseverance of just pushing yourself and
Yeah. Yeah.
having that support system. When you think you don't need the support system, you really do.
Hmm. Hmm.
You really, really
And
do.
how do you looking back, and again, a lot of the questions that come to my mind as you're discussing this, how would you look back as far as your sports background um, uh, impacting you as far as your being able to get through this?
Because I like to be a winner.
Good. Good.
I like to win. I mean, I don't like to be. I mean, I had two choices: survive
Mhm.
or die.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like a game. You win or you lose.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
didn't want to lose. I mean, it's
Right.
that simple. It really is. I mean,
Yeah.
granted, I have a really strong body. I did fight it off. I know a lot of women don't win the battle, and it
Mhm.
breaks my heart. I've lost 3 girlfriends that I know of for breast cancer, and it breaks your heart. And it's not their fault that they gave up. People
Mhm.
don't give up.
Right.
Sometimes your body just can't take it, and it's not always the cancer that kills you. It's the chemo. The chemo
Mhm.
is really, really, really hard on your body.
Mhm.
Really
Sure.
hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And now you've got three. You and Tom have three sons,
Mhm.
and how are they? How did they handle things as far as this was concerned?
They were all a little different. Our oldest son does not live with us anymore. He's older, has his own wife, and he wasn't married at the time, but he was, getting ready for a wedding.
Mhm.
So he was he called me every day. They took it very hard. We sat them down. I wasn't going to hide anything from them. They're old enough. They're
Mhm.
26, 22, and 21.
Mhm.
At the time, take away 2 years. So they were still adult children.
Sure.
And even having boys, you got to still explain to them what's going on with mom because
Mhm.
mom takes care of everything for them.
Right. Right.
So we sat down, we had a dinner, and we all cried together. And I just said, whatever you can help me do, we'll get through it. And
Mhm.
they did. They were great. They were very, very helpful. Very
Mhm.
helpful. I
Good.
guess the one story that I'll share with you, it's kind of, I won't say it's graphic, but it's kind of personal, but
Oh,
I'll
that's
share it
fine.
because
But whatever,
it's
whichever
pretty
direction you want to
special.
go. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, Tom had to go out of town, and this was probably a few days after my mastectomy. And unfortunately, owning your own company, you're busy and you can't say no because
Mhm.
you got to work. He's the one feeding our whole family, taking care of
Sure.
us. So, I had to change the dressings on my after having the mastectomy. You have all this gauze on you, and
Mhm.
I had to unwrap myself and change them, and I couldn't do it. I sat there and I'd already seen myself. It is a big change. I
Yeah.
mean, you go from, having breasts to having none. And yes, I had reconstructive surgery, but they still have to put saline in them, and they're called expanders, and they
Mhm.
expand them to give you what looks like your breast. So I looked at my youngest son, and he says, "Mom, I'll help you." I said, "Ryan, you don't want to see this." And he goes, "Mom," he goes, "you changed my diaper." He's like, "You're my mom." He goes, "I'm not going to look at you like that." And I know, like, I know. But he did. He sat and he changed all my bandages and he
Wow.
took care of me. And I sat there sobbing, and he's like, and he comforted me.
Uh-huh.
I mean, your kids are tough. You'd be
Mhm.
surprised what your kids can handle.
Sure.
And we're very open with our children. you
Mhm.
know I think I still go to the bathroom and they'll walk in, and
Mhm.
I'm like, they're like, okay, we just don't make a big deal out of it.
Right.
And he never made a big deal out of it.
Mhm.
He just says, "Mom, I got you. I'll take care of you." And he did.
Yeah. Wow. Fantastic. What a great
And that
story.
still touches me. And people are like, "Oh, you have sons." I'm like, "Yeah, sons are, that's what I have, and that's what I had to take care of me." And he
Mhm.
did. He took care
Yeah.
of me.
No, a great story. And then you talked about the team of people that helped supported you as well.
Ugh.
Can you share a little bit of that?
Um, First team, you want to back yourself up with a good team of doctors.
Mm.
I made sure I had a really good surgeon. Made sure I did a lot of research, what I could do research for an oncologist. I got thrown at this pretty quickly. I didn't have a lot of time to make any decisions.
Mhm.
Um, I was diagnosed July 25th. I was in surgery August 8th, putting in a Mediport, which they put the chemo through.
Mhm.
And I had 3 lymph nodes removed. And that was on a Thursday. And the following Tuesday, I started chemo. So I
Wow.
literally, from the time I was diagnosed, I was in chemo in a matter of 2 weeks.
Now, where did you have this done, Kim?
Rochester General.
In general, okay, yeah, because I'm
Yep,
from
all general.
Rochester, so I'm familiar with a lot of the,
Yeah, Rochester General.
different hospitals up there. Sure,
Yeah, because I had triple negative, they had to find somebody that was more specialized in that
right.
because the treatment's a little bit different.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, Rochester General. And then I forgot what you asked me again. Sorry, see, chemo brain.
No, 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 it's all right, it's all right.
Chemo
Yeah,
brain is the worst. I'm
yeah.
telling
No,
you
just
what.
just generally about your team. So you talked about your doctors.
Okay.
I was thinking some
So
of your
and
support
then
team.
and then my girlfriends, I've got girlfriends from high school
Mhm.
that still stay in touch with me. I just have so many girlfriends that literally they lined up to take me to my appointments. I didn't have
Wow.
enough appointments. I had so many girlfriends that I'm like, I need more appointments just to get my girlfriends to take me. And because I couldn't drive to my appointments and I was in chemo every week.
Mhm.
And again, Tom just he couldn't take me. He couldn't take time off work. And so
Right.
I said, you know what? You keep taking care of work and the girls have got me.
Yeah,
And so my girlfriends were amazing. My sister was amazing. My mom, everybody. I mean, the
yeah.
kids even had taken me. So you just that whole team, it definitely is a team. It's
Sure,
just like a
sure.
sporting event. It is a whole team.
Absolutely. And where are you from originally, Kim?
I'm originally from Perry, New York.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
Wyoming County. We have
right.
more cows than people growing up.
Mhm. Yeah,
People always say, was that Perry's ice cream? No, it was Archway cookies.
yeah,
So Archway was almost in my backyard
right.
or the Silver Lake Drive-In. So yeah, that's what we had in Perry.
Right. Yeah. Well, as I said, growing up in Rochester, I got familiar with some of those towns out of there, and had grandparents in Dansville and
Hmm.
cousins in Wayland. So that general area. So
Yeah.
anyway, well, any advice that you would give to teens or young adults regarding the importance of whether it's being involved with sports or whether it's the idea of avoiding thinking like a victim or any thought that you come up here before we kind of
Um,
wrap this up.
I wrote a couple things down because again, I always tell people between menopause and chemo, I don't know which one's worse. I got hit with both of them at the same time. So I take a lot of notes. Your brain, I think that's one of the hard side effects of
Mhm.
chemo is the fog. I
Mhm.
never thought
Sure.
it was a thing, and it really truly is a thing. And you can have it for years. And I did just finish chemo back in last August because I had to go through it again.
Mhm.
So yeah, the chemo brain's horrible. But I guess, I tell people, life is full of bumps. It's a bumpy road.
Mhm.
And, whether you're gonna, fall in the bumps, are you gonna jump over those bumps? Are you gonna stop? Are you gonna push through them? You know, that's the ultimate choice. You got to keep pushing yourself.
Mhm.
You're nobody's gonna push you but yourself.
Mhm.
You know, I tell people like my son, um, parenting, marriage, it's all difficult. I mean,
Mhm.
it's like a sporting event. I mean, there's rules to all of it.
Mhm.
If you break the rules, you don't follow the rules to marriage, raising kids, there's consequences.
Mhm.
You got to take the team approach. It takes a whole team, it takes a whole village to raise a child.
Mhm.
You've got to ask for help. I always tell people, patience. You know, my surgeon, when he first met me, he looked at me and he goes, yeah, you're that type of girl. He goes, Kim, sit back. He goes, it's going to take a year. He goes, it's going to be a year of your life. So you got to sit back and just be patient because I'm like, come on, let's get this going. I want to get this
Mhm.
over with. He's like, that's not how cancer works.
Mhm.
We'll go as fast as we can, but your chemo is just, it is what it is. He goes, you just got to sit back and ride the ride. And I was like, oh boy, this is going to be tough.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I think just believing in yourself, you know, I think my biggest goal to parents right now is, I let my kids do their thing. I parented them, but I did let them fail. We all
Mhm.
have to fail because we
Sure.
just get stronger from failing.
Mhm.
I mean, did I have setbacks with my cancer? Absolutely. I mean, did I fail? No, I didn't fail, but it's a journey and it's how you take it. And I don't know. I think you have to look for the help. I thought I was tough. I'm this big tough girl. I don't need any help. And I did reach out. I reached out to the Rochester Breast Cancer Coalition.
Mhm.
Um, especially the second time I was diagnosed, because you have this, oh my gosh, what did my doctors miss? What did they do wrong? It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't their fault. It had nothing to do with what my doctors did or didn't do. My second bout of cancer was, it just came back. It came back at a lymph node, and that's the path it takes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame anybody for it. You can't blame anybody for it. It is what it is. You just get up and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
I never, that's one thing I gotta say. I never did feel like a victim. You go through a lot of emotional roller coaster when you're first diagnosed. I tell people, you're going to have that sadness that overcomes you, and you're going to cry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's going to pass. So get up and go to the next phase. The next phase, I think I went through anger.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my gosh, why me? How did this happen? But then I was like, well, there was a reason. I honestly think there was a reason why I had breast cancer. I don't think it was a bad joke or anything. I think I was supposed to have it. And I fought, and I taught lots of women. I've definitely gone out and helped other women that have gone through it
Mm-hmm.
and have been there for them. Told them the real life facts of how you're going to feel, what the mastectomy feels like, what's going to look like. You just gotta keep going. And,
Mm-hmm.
and I have this amazing husband that I think my biggest joke through it was, and we still laugh about this, is I said, I'm not going to die. I spent 30 years training you. No other woman deserves you. 30 years of training. He's almost perfect. He's almost perfect. So I felt no other woman deserved him. So
There you go.
that's why I lived.
Very good. Very good.
And you
That
come
that
with a
that.
sense of humor,
Yeah.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you just do. We laugh a lot, we cried a lot. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's really hard on the husbands.
Mm-hmm.
People forget that. So, if there's a woman out there, just remember your husband's going through this too. And
Sure.
family members, they forget about the husband, because
Mm-hmm.
he loves you. That's
Mm-hmm.
why he's your husband.
Right.
And it's really, really hard on your family.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so well said, Kim. So well said. And just as I said, anybody that watches this and doesn't pick up some of the wonderful thoughts, life lessons, advice that you're giving here, they really should listen to it a couple times. This has been fantastic. So really, really appreciate it. If you could hang on for when we get through here, I'd like to chat with you for a minute or two, and but this has been wonderful. Thank you so very, very much.
Well, I hope, and my goal is, women, get your mammograms every year. You've got to get a mammogram. And they're like, oh, you don't need them till you're 40 or 50. Yes, you do. I saw tons of young women sitting in those chairs across the hall from me getting chemo, and they were young.
Yeah.
And I have no family history of breast cancer. So
Right.
please, and it's just pay attention to your body, and you've got to, if you think something's wrong, you keep fighting, you advocate for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
What and it's interesting because Becky talked about how important it was that she had advocated for herself, Becky C, who got the a
yeah.
heart transplant. Um, what age would you say? Because I know they talk about 40 or 50, but from your experience and what you've seen, how old should these women be when you think when they should start
Um,
getting checked?
I mean, I'm not an expert, but the
Hmm.
problem is, looking back and doing the research I have done,
Hmm.
a lot of the younger women that are getting it is from birth control. It's an estrogen. It's
Okay.
hormone pills. And I'm
Hmm.
not saying don't stop, don't take them. That's not what I'm saying. I'm
Hmm.
just saying do self exams.
Yeah.
You can feel lumps. I mean, and don't be embarrassed to do it. It's your body. You
Hmm.
know, when I was younger, I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be feeling. No, you need to do that. You
Hmm.
need to feel if you have lumps.
Hmm.
I've always had a history of having lumps. They were benign.
Hmm.
But if you have a family history, you need to get in earlier.
Hmm.
So, do the self exams. It could save your life,
Hmm.
truly could save your life. And advocate. If you feel a lump and you want it checked, you get in and you get it checked.
Hmm.
Don't take, especially during COVID, a lot of the mammograms my girlfriend said got pushed away. And I'm like, or
Hmm.
pushed further down the road. I'm like, no, you call them. You tell them you need to get checked.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you got to start young.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so well said, and thank you, Kim. This has been great, and like I said, just hang on for a bit when we get done here. And again, thank you. What a wonderful, uplifting, phenomenal story. And Tom is a I've known him longer than you have. And I always say this to people, but I'll just tell you right now, he's a lucky guy for sure. So
I'm a lucky
yeah,
girl to have him.
yeah. Well, it sounds like a great love story,
Yeah.
and the way a marriage and teamwork and everything, really ideally should be working, because we are going to have those ups and downs in life. There's no question
Yeah.
about it. And
It's work.
yeah,
I mean, it's none of us are perfect. It's a job, but
right, for sure. Okay, well, thank you so much, Kim. Do appreciate it.
thank you.